right, good afternoon to you. I'm Fox 26 meteorologist Remeisha Shade. We are tracking the tropics, rolling on through the remainder of this hurricane season. About a month and a half to go, of course. The 2025 Atlantic Basin hurricane season runs all the way through the end of November. So far this season, 12 named storms, 4 hurricanes, 3 major hurricanes, and 2 of those major hurricanes actually blew up to be monster category 5. So, of course, that's as strong as it gets. So we've had some pretty big hurricanes. They just haven't made landfall. So that's actually been a good thing. So we've been spared here across the Texas Gulf Coast. No landfalls from tropical depressions, tropical storms, or hurricanes. And hopefully we will keep that trend going for whatever's left of the season, which is about a month and a half. All right, so our numbers for this season are still a little behind our average, at least for named storms and hurricanes. We're about 2 behind for named storms, 3 behind for hurricanes, but we've tied our average number of major hurricanes. So we're getting on through. We've had some active periods really since the beginning of September. That's when things kind of started to pick up out there across the tropics. Before that, we had kind of a 2-3 week lull in the action, but things definitely got a bit busy afterwards. So we've gone from Tropical Storm Andrea towards the beginning of the season all the way down to Tropical Storm Lorenzo, which of course died on us yesterday. It was looking very weak and very lopsided, ran into some dry air, and that basically put an end to it. So at this point, no named storms across the Atlantic Basin. The next names on the list, though, would be Melissa, Nestor, Olga, Pablo, Rebecca, Sebastian, Tanya, Van, and finally Wendy. Hopefully we won't have to use all of those names before the season is over, but there's a chance we could still have a little bit more action before we can say goodbye, adios to this year's hurricane season. All right, we currently have no active tropical systems in the Atlantic Basin right now. Of course, yesterday we did have Tropical Storm Lorenzo, but that did fall apart. Risk for the Texas Gulf Coast is extremely low, basically between now and the end of hurricane season. So typically, if we hadn't gotten hit by a tropical system by now, historically, at least over the last 150 years or so, there's not really anything on record showing where we would get hit after mid-October. So we're looking pretty good. But of course, there's always a chance for something unprecedented happening. So you always want to be on guard and be alert and ready for anything. But overall, our chances are low. We are watching for possible development in the Caribbean and Eastern Pacific. This is the location, or the locations where some models are indicating we could still have a little bit of action before the season is over. So this is October 22nd through October 28th. There's a low to medium chance for tropical cyclone development here for much of the Caribbean and for the Eastern Pacific. The pink kind of representing that low chance, the red representing the medium shot for some of these tropical systems. So speaking of development in this area, the National Hurricane Center as of today already monitoring a new potential area in the Caribbean. Eventually, it is in the Atlantic now, but it is expected to push into the Caribbean. You can see water temps in the Caribbean and the Gulf, Western Atlantic, still more than warm enough to support additional tropical storms and hurricanes. We've got those water temps well into the 80s, as they have been all season long. So we definitely have the fuel in place just in case we get something going. We also still have the Central American gyre system sitting over Central America. So this is going to be one of the reasons why we could have an increase or uptick in some of this tropical activity over the next few weeks, a little closer to home. So we're going to be monitoring to see if anything spins off of that big area of low pressure and turns into a tropical system. Right now, though, the only area officially being monitored in the Atlantic Basin by the National Hurricane Center is this tropical wave here in the Central Atlantic. So this is a disorganized area of showers and storms expected to continue tracking west, and it will move into a more favorable environment for development over the coming days. So National Hurricane Center actually giving this tropical wave a 20% chance for development somewhere in the Caribbean over the next 7 days. It's a low shot, but of course that would be a little closer to us, so that may have you concerned. But it looks like most likely it would push into parts of Central America and maybe eventually Mexico, and it would not move up towards the Texas Gulf Coast. But of course, it is a new area for us to monitor. Also in the Eastern Pacific, we're still monitoring this tropical wave near the southern or southwestern Mexican coast, getting more organized with a 50% chance now for development over the next 2 to 7 days to become a tropical system. It's called Invest 91E, so that means it is strong enough to where the Hurricane Center is investigating it for possible tropical development. So this could become Tropical Storm or Hurricane Sonia, and it would brush by Acapulco likely this weekend and then kind of move northwest and pass south of the Baja California Peninsula. So that one is not going to mess with the Texas Gulf Coast either. Here you can see it developing, moving near Acapulco this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, and then pushing on away from the Mexico area. So that's it. We got one system in the Eastern Pacific we're monitoring, one system in the Central Atlantic, but nothing looking extremely strong or threatening for the Texas Gulf Coast. So hopefully we can get through the rest of this season without any additional issues. But of course, if that changes, we're here day by day to let you know what's up.